Going on YouTube, Cloverbells here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and we are just a few days away from another big regional weekend. Sacramento is upon us, and some of you are going to Sacramento. And to that, I say good luck and have fun. Enjoy yourself, okay? But what I want to do is to try to get you guys a little bit more prepared for that, right? Especially if you are going for your first regional. And what I want to do today and these next couple of videos is just to put out some information just to what exactly are you going to see and what to expect. So this way I can calm your nerves a little bit. All right. And today I want to focus on diving a little bit and just how Japan, or for better words, the Japanese meta has been able to influence the regulation format that we have right now. So my disclaimer here is that, you know, people, we take Japanese teams all the time. That in itself is nothing new. Like even myself, I've used a bunch of Japanese teams as I'm testing stuff, you know, just to get a better feel of what's being played right now elsewhere besides where I live right now. And that's normal. You know, people do that all the time, but we've especially see that even more in this current format. And that's why I'm putting out this video, because if we look at the regional play, you know, best of three stuff, we see a lot of these big Japanese teams that have had success in the global challenges and the grand challenges or players cup, whatever you want to call it. We've seen success from the closed best of one team sheets, and then those teams have been able to leak into the regional play, and people have had a lot of success with it, and you know, for good reason. Okay, and what I want to do is go through some of those teams, so this way you can see what exactly you're going to expect you know, when you go into Sacramento. And what I also want to do is to give you guys resources, so this way you too can have access to those teams and just see for yourself what exactly is being played within the Japanese meta, right? And I think that's important, because if you want to get the whole picture of the meta and the format that you're playing, you can't just only look at what's being played in North America, EU, or whatever region you're in. You have to also stay up to date, you know, with the Japanese player base and, you know, just whatever teams they're posting on Twitter, and also the events that they're playing in. Okay, now how do you do that? What are those resources? So I'm going to give you some of those, so this way you too can have access to those teams and be able to try them yourself. And this way you can be better informed as far as what is being used right now in regulationH and where some of those teams have come from. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the popular examples as far as what I've been saying so far. Okay, let's go back to LAIC for a second here. And it was a finals that featured Victor, Medina, and Marco Silva, Charizard Sun, and a new Rain variant with Sneasler, Ursaluna, regular Ursaluna, and Archaludon Dragonite stuff. So both of these teams were Japanese-inspired teams. And if we take a look at Victor's team for a second, that is the Beth Rain idea. And, you know, one thing you got to know about Japanese players, guys, right? They always like to post their teams at the end of the ladder season or the first day of the new month, right? So if they have a really strong result or a strong ranking at the end of the finish, right, they'll always post their teams on Twitter, and therefore you guys can get access and then you can see it. And this was no different. So this was on November 3rd. So Beth posted his team, and it's an adaptation, right? So if you click the link, you can, you know, read up a little bit more on it. He has like this whole blog on it. And if you say, you know, oh, Clover, I can't read Japanese, that's okay. You have a translate to English button, so you can definitely still read up on it and understand, you know, just what went down here with the team building and whatnot. But this was a Japanese inspired team is what I'm getting at. Now, it's not the exact same team, right? So, you know, here are the spreads, of course, because they posted the rental, but that is not to say that Victor was using the exact same team. First of all, he wasn't. You know, the Tera types are a little bit different, especially on the Pelipper here, Steel versus Ghost. But at the end of the day, it's still an inspiration, you know, from Japan, right? Now, if we go into Marco's team here, Marco was able to grab this one from Kim0227 Poke, right? So this was posted on October 27th, and you know, we featured this team on the channel, right? We did. And, you know, Marco used it in the Grand Challenge. He did very, very well with it. And, you know, this was the PokePaste along with the rental that Kim was able to post. And Marco himself has even said that he got, you know, 5th place with this technically. And it was very similar to the one that was posted, and, you know, gave them credit. So, again, he did grab inspiration for that. He brought this team to the Gdansk regionals. He got 2nd place with it. And then he brought almost the same team into LAIC. And, you know, it's the same 6, but, you know, slightly different Tera. I think the Jump Pluff here, even though it says water. I think the other one was fire. So obviously some adjustment was made. I don't know what they did with the EVs, but at the end of the day, again, inspired from Japan. So 2 finalists, okay, that used 2 Japanese inspired teams. This is what we're talking about in regulationH. And so this way, this is why you need to stay up to date on this stuff. So this way, you can grab your next regional team and potentially do very well with it. And Marco and Victor are the prime examples of this. Okay, so let's take a look at another example. Still staying in LAIC, let's look at Justin Tang's team and Chongjun's team. Justin was able to get 15th place, and I believe Chongjun, I think he had 20th place there. But read the post here. So this was posted by Shiliong, right? It says it's time to post a team. Me and Justin double top 16 GC2 Grand Challenge 2. And it was the Mirror Herb Arcanine idea, right? That's why they took the picture with the Arcanine here. So team was inspired by Yubi. So yet again, another Japanese inspired team. So if we take a look at the rental, this is it. And of course, we have the pace that they were able to use. So this is pretty interesting in itself. But again, the highlight here was the Mirror Herb Arcanine. You might say, I would have never slapped this on in a million years, but it had good use here. And it's kind of going back to the idea of Mirror Herb Tauros, where you had the Mirror Herb on an Intimidator, so you could copy buffs, all right, and then from there, just do tons of damage with Flare Blitz and Extreme Speed overall. And then after that, Choice Specs Primarina, Tailwind Dragonite, same thing. This is all things that originated from the GC. And again, they were inspired, with a little bit of help, right? So, and that's what you have to do. Like, if you need inspiration, look no further than to go into the Japanese meta, and that's what they did. And again, another example of grabbing success from these players. So if that is something that you're having trouble with, right, if you're trying to find a team from Sacramento, if you need a little bit of help, or you need something for a local and whatnot, feel free to grab one of these kinds of teams and test it out and see how it feels. But this is a common thing that people are doing. Let's look at more examples. LAIC aside for a second, how about Sneasler Balance? So we know what Sneasler Balance looks like, even though there's been some variances as the format has progressed. Okay, I look no further than this. Back on September 8th, okay, 8 days after the format started officially, right? Sarah Poke 0914 posted this team, okay, and it looks like one of your standard Sneasler Balance teams. You've got, of course, the Sneasler, then you've got Gambit and Rillaboom. These 3 have dominated the regulation format for many months already. Okay, it's always top 3 usage most of the time. Gambit has seen a dip a little bit now, but for the most of the format, this was the 3. Okay, then you have the Volcarona endgame win condition potentially, right? You not saying you can't start with it, but it is a win con on the team. And then you get support with the Unaware Clefable, right? So Unaware, a very good ability that a lot of people like. Especially against the set of Pokemon that are running around right now. And then, of course, Primarina here with the Life Orb, Hyper Voice, Moonblast, Haze stuff. We've known what Primarina can do. So this is like one of those starting Sneasler Balance teams. And then from there, it led to inspiration for other Sneasler Balance teams. Then we started inputting the Dragon stuff, like a Dragapult, a Dragonite, a Baxcalibur, a Combo, okay, and then a Garchomp, right? Eventually, they made its way onto the Archetype, but this is like one of those starting points that, didn't necessarily use a Dragon type, but it led to inspiration for the Sneasler Balance teams to follow. Again, another Japanese inspired team. Okay, let's go back even further. Let's go into Louisville Regionals. How about 5th place team here from Marco Martinez, and the selling point was the Ceruledge, right? So let's take a look at their pace, and we thank them for posting the pace along with the rental. So this way everyone was able to use it. But it's Adamant 116 Ceruledge. Okay, this is the pace they came up with. Bitterblade, Shadow Sneak, Bulk Up, and the whole highlight here was to double up on the buffs from Coaching Sneasler into Bulk Up Ceruledge. So now +2 attack, +2 defense. You're hitting harder, and that means you're recovering even more with your Bitterblade. And the whole point here with Ceruledge was Flash Fire, and that was really useful against Torkoal, Trick Room, Eruption stuff, or even the fast mode with Hisuian Typhlosion also clicking Eruption, and then the occasional Volcarona Heatwave stuff, right? So Ceruledge had some pretty good ideas as a niche Pokemon onto a Sneasler Balance team, and then coaching, with Dragonite, King Gambit, Rillaboom here, that was pretty standard, at that point. But the original idea, where did it come from? was from right over here, Pokekigawatt, right? Liberty Notes was able to retweet this, but this was a tournament, right? It was, I believe, was it a Tera challenge? Yes, it was a Tera challenge, okay, October 5th, okay, and they were able to get 3rd place over here. And then from there, this is where the inspiration came from, was, you know, to use Ceruledge onto this Sneasler Balance idea, which was pretty cool in itself, right? But again, this is why we mentioned earlier in the beginning of the video, you have to pay attention to these Japanese tournaments, especially the Teru challenges, because this is where you get to maybe get some inspiration from some of your teams, and then, you know, really get creative with what you want to do if you're trying to find something for a regional or an upcoming tournament. Like, look at these teams. You know, at the time in October 5th, this was something, right? You know, and it's good because now you get some variants in the meta, and they get to dictate, you know, part of the stuff in the meta, and then from there we get a little bit more inspiration from the teams moving forward. All right, let's keep on going. And even this variant, right? This one's even a little bit more recent. This one's from October 31st, Halloween, right? So like I said, the end of the month or the first day of the new one. So here's the rental, and if you want to click and take a look and read up a little bit, and again, it doesn't matter whether you can speak or read Japanese or not, you can always just click the translate button. You have the rental, you have the paste, you know, linked, so you can always just check it out yourself and see what exactly these guys are going for. But again, similar ideas here. So this is an air balloon Goldango. That's pretty cool. And here's the unaware Clefable, and then you have the Sneasler yet again, and then of course Incineroar with the Rocky helmet. Okay, we've seen that before, right? So this is where it came from, Rocky helmet, Incineroar, and then again, here's your defensive backbone here. You can set up potentially a lot of different plays here, but again, revolving around the Doug trio. Okay, so right over here, right? This is one of the most standard Archaludon Rain teams that you'll ever see, and this is from August 31st here. So you can always go on this website and take a look at some of the rentals posted here. But again, the Incineroar Among Us defensive backbone with Pelipper, Archaludon, and Basculegion, and then Goldango over here to have your solid steel type in the Rain. I've said this in a few videos, right? This variant, even though it was made in late August, is still strong and still getting results even right now. And it stems from the origin from Japan here. So this is actually really cool. And again, if you want more rentals, again, just go ahead and log in and scroll down and start looking at some of this stuff posted, especially, like I said, either at the end of the month or even in the beginning of the new month. This is what you'll be able to see and what you'll be able to find. But it all comes from the resources that you're able to utilize and get access to, right? So now what I want to do is talk about some of these resources so you too can grab some of these teams and try them out yourself. So this way, none of this stuff will take you by surprise, whether you go to a tournament, go to a regional, or if you see something on online ranked ladder play, which is definitely where you'll see a lot of this stuff. But at least we want to at least make you aware as far as like where to get this stuff. All right, the first resource that I want to show you is the one that a lot of people know, and that is Liberty Note. So if you want some of their top ranked teams from each season, this is where you would go. They have their own Twitter here. So we'll also link this in the video description below. But yeah, this is where they'll post stuff. But if you don't want to if you don't really have Twitter, if you don't have X, then you can always access the website here, which I will also link. And this is the one that you saw in the beginning of the video and the one that we just showed you as well. And then again, if you can't read any of this stuff, all you have to do is just click the translate button, and now you have everything you need. So look at this: Regulation C teams, Regulation D rentals. All right, it has them all. All you have to do is just click the right tab, and then you can access the teams that you want. And then if you scroll down, you know, you can just click on it. They have like a little bit of a write-up, you know, depending on the team that you want. You can just freely browse through it, and then you can get all of the different types of teams that were used depending on the tournament, or maybe it was just ladder play. Even over here, articles here, just again, check the date just to make sure you're clicking the team for the right format. But Liberty Note is like the go-to source for some of your Japanese teams. Now, in terms of like the tournament stuff, that's all from the Teru run over here, the Teru challenge. So I can even just click that and show you what that's all about. All right, so on the Liberty Note website, if I click the top bar, if I click Teru challenge, I would know right over here that they actually had something that went on this past weekend, right? So I want to take a look at that and see what kind of teams were used, right? I want to be up to date. And they also have their own Twitter. So if you go here and access their Twitter, Teru Square, Tera square, I should say. This is where you can also find, you know, visuals and pastings of some of their stuff. But they also have a YouTube channel and they stream their runs, right? So I really like that because then I can watch how some of these players play and I see how the team functions a little bit. So if I click it, right, this is their channel and I can watch the stream here. It's almost like I'm watching a regional, right? And then you can watch just how these teams were being used, how they were being played. And like if I see like a combination or a 6 that I like to use, then I'm definitely going to do it and try and pick it up. So this way I might be able to get advantage against someone that's maybe not familiar with the Japanese meta, right? So if you are familiar with it, then you already have that advantage over somebody else because maybe they might not know how to deal with some of your threats, your tech options and whatnot. So this is actually really cool, the fact that you can always watch this, right? So I consider this like additional regional prep, right? If you can just check out their battles here. But back to the Twitter website over here. So if I just take a look at some of the stuff, so for example, this team right here, Lewis Tan, he was doing this with Blood Moon Archaludon, Ferrograph, Incin, Rillaboom, the Gold Dango here, and then the Paldean Taurus, right? This was on November 19th. So that's another type of team that they were using. This one here, this one's pretty interesting. This one is Tailwind with back Scalloper. Then you have Indeedee Armrouge, Annihilate here. Then there's a Sneasler. So that's another cool team that you can always consider. Maybe it has some solid play, solid results. How about this one? We know this one. Talonflame, you know, Blood Moon Archaludon, the male Indeedee, and then you have a Sneasler, right? A very standard 4 that we've come to know in recent weeks. And then you have the Serena over here along with the Archaludon. So I definitely want to take a look at this set, right? If you can check out the paste stuff. So all you have to do is just do a little bit of research and find the player and see what kind of postings they've done, right? So over here, this is, again, even if you don't read Japanese, you can always retranslate this stuff. But, you know, sometimes there's always a little bit of a write-up. Yeah, this one's from Lewis, this one's in English, so that's pretty cool. Look at this, Twin Beam Ferrograph. That's interesting. Calm Mind, Blood Moon Archaludon. This is what I'm talking about, right? So this is actually really, really cool. The fact that you have access to all this information, all you have to do is just, you know, take the time and look at it. But again, Teru Challenge is something that they like to run. So obviously take a look at that. And I wouldn't know that if I didn't access the Liberty Note website or even follow them on Twitter. So make sure you utilize the social media so this way you can stay up to date in terms of what things is being used and being played when. Okay, another cool Twitter resource is VGC Teamsheet list, all right, also known as VGC Parties over here. They always post a lot of teams that are relevant in the Japanese meta that had some results. So for example, over here, there's a write-up with Gengar, Archaludon, Pelipper, Basculegion, Instant Amoonguss. So this is pretty cool here. Again, you can have access to the rental, and you know you can always translate the write-up into English if that is something that you're interested in. How about this one, right? November 17th. Looks like another Doug variant. Yes, it is. And look, there's the rental right there. So I can give this a go. And I can always just reverse engineer the code. So this way I can get the EV spreads, even if they did not link a PokePaste here. But look at this. Dragonite, Blood Moon Archaludon, Scarf Goldango, Sneasler, Gambit, Life Orb Gambit. Okay, and then Sinisha here with the Tera Dark set here. So that's another thing that you consider. And then there's other teams that you can find down here. Look, this one is looks like the Juan Garcia variant with back Scalper Balance with the Dondozo and so on and so forth, right? So this is another resource that you can use and take a look at some of the teams that is being played right now. Okay, lastly here, I want to give a little shout out to Caster Brown VGC and show you one more resource here. VGCPastes. By the way, all the resources that I just said, Caster Brown has also made available in this post down here. So thank you, Caster Brown, for allowing us to see all of this stuff, but we already knew them already. But take a look at this VGCPaste repository. So if you're ever in need of a team and you need the rental, you need the paste, go ahead and access the Excel sheet over here. This is public knowledge. Okay, a lot of people know about this, but if you do not, now you do. So for example, I wanted to see all of the global challenge teams. So all I have to do is just kind of filter it a little bit and just click global challenge here. And I can see all these teams that were used in the grand challenge one. I keep alternating global challenge, ground challenge, but you know what I mean, right? So look at all of this. Some of these have PokePaste available, and then I can access some of these, and then I can click them. And especially, I can also see some of the results over here because there is a written description. But for example, Florian VGC's Grand Challenge 1 team, right? It is a Dragonite team, you know, with Clefable, Volcarona, Rillaboom, and Incineroar, right? And I can just instantly pick this up, and I have the pace, and I also have the rental over here, so I could, if it's still active, right? But this is back in September, so I can always just access that. Otherwise, if I want like teams from the second Grand Challenge to then go up here, and these are now teams that were used in the second Grand Challenge, especially the winning team here from Suika, right? They graciously gave us the rental here, so look at this. Life Orb, Talonflame, you know, Rocky Helmet, Mousehold here with Super Fang and Feint, Annihilate with Citrus Spray with Close Combat and Final Gambit. Okay, Specs Goldengo with 4 attacks here. There's the Scale Shot, Extreme Speed, Haze Dragonite here with Loaded Dice Multi-Scale, and it's High Horsepower Rillaboom, and, you know, very nice solid EVs on this Rillaboom, by the way. But again, if you need a team, this is also where you would access them. And if you're trying to find, you know, stuff from like Tera Run Challenge, they also have that here. So if you're willing to explore that, again, just do it here. Otherwise, you've got Liberty Note, you've got the YouTube channel for Tera Challenge, you've got their Twitter accounts too. I gave you VGC lists, right, over here. So lots of different resources that I've given you where you can access all of these teams. All right, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys understand and get a sense of what I've been trying to tell you in this video, and you know, you can now appreciate what Japan has been able to do as far as development for our format here. So you've got the resources now. If you're going to Sacramento, you know, feel free to look through the resources and see if there's something that maybe you missed in terms of, you know, picking up a team, or maybe there's something there that maybe you didn't quite prepare for and maybe you might expect to see. Again, the results from Lab Mouse will dictate that in terms of, you know, looking up what teams were being used lately. But you also have access to all of this stuff where you can see just what people have been using thus far, as far as the Japanese teams from their meta. Okay, and it just goes to show you, you know, just because you don't play in a particular region, that doesn't mean you ignore it, and it doesn't mean that you ignore the teams being played in that area, because sometimes meta in different regions are different from where you are, right? And it's important to stay up to date on them as much as you can, so this way nothing comes as a complete shock or a complete surprise. Okay, but that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.